the desperate patient of the madness clinic. The moon cast an ominous glow over the dilapidated farmhouse, its ghostly glimmers reflecting off the peeling shutters. In one window flickered the flame of a kerosene lamp, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Inside reigned a stifling stench of mustiness and decay. The filthy room seemed to have never known the invigorating breath of fresh air. Dust motes danced in the scanty illumination, settling on the scattered chunks of flesh and organs lying on the rough wooden table. In the far corner loomed the silhouette of a massive man, sitting motionless like a statue. Justin McGregor, known in these parts as the Butcher, surveyed his arsenal, cleavers, knives, saws, lovingly caressing the blades. He relished this agonizing anticipation before getting down to business, butchering flesh. From the depths of the house came cries, pleading for mercy. But the Butcher had long grown deaf to such sounds. To him, these people were no more than cattle for slaughter, food which he hand-picked with the discernment of a hunter. Some of the victims had already resigned themselves, huddled in the corners of their cages, while others still clung to hope for life, though death alone awaited them. Rising slowly, the Butcher made his way to the basement, the floorboards creaking underfoot. Along the way, he listened to the voices, considering whom to choose today. He approached the first cage. A child was weeping inside. Not today. Further on, a young couple was visible, too soon for a pair. Stopping at one of the cages at the end of the dark corridor, the Butcher gripped the bars.
Your turn, pretty one,
he rasped, producing a rusty key. The girl shrank into the corner, trembling with terror. What followed defied description. Screams, the harsh sounds of rending flesh, the crunch of shattering bones, all blended into a devilish symphony of agony. But the Butcher was no stranger to this performance. Only at dawn, as the first timid rays seeped through the lone window, did Justin lean back satisfied on the hard chair, a shard of human rib still clutched in his bloodied hand. His mouth was smeared with blood and scraps of flesh. A knock came at the door, at first tentative, then increasingly insistent.
Police, open up!
The Butcher looked around bewildered. How could they have known? He had been so careful, so cautious. Suddenly, it dawned on him. At the last moment, he realized the full, horrifying truth of his deranged existence. Smiling, he took a sip of the cooling blood from the bowl and spoke.
Come in, I'm a harmless patient of the psychiatric hospital. Everything is in order here.
The door burst open with a crash, and armed police officers in bulletproof vests stormed into the room. They surrounded the Butcher, their rifle barrels trained on him.
Don't move! Hands behind your head!
One of the officers barked, approaching him. The Butcher slowly raised his bloodied hands, smirking.
You don't understand, gentlemen. I'm just a patient.
Suddenly, with a swift motion, he whipped out a serrated knife from behind his belt and flung it at the nearest policeman in one throw. Gurgling, the man collapsed to the floor with the knife protruding from his throat. Seizing the momentary lapse, the Butcher sprang up, and with unnatural agility for his bulky frame, dove behind the table, upending it. Bullets thudded into the wood, but he was already taking aim from under cover, returning fire with a commandeered service Glock. 2 policemen fell, cut down by his deadly marksmanship. The Butcher cackled like a madman, reloading with the deftness of a butcher dressing a carcass. Eventually they managed to shackle him in handcuffs, literally pinning him to the floor with the sheer bulk of several beefy cops. Bound, raving and laughing maniacally, they dragged him toward the police car. Deathly silence reigned, broken only by the muffled gasps of the dying policeman. One of the walking androids slowly approached the Butcher. Its massive blade arm reached for the captive's head. But suddenly, a look of surprise flitted across the Butcher's face. He abruptly straightened, shook his head, and instantly shed his deranged demeanor.
What that?
He groaned in a human voice, looking around with a dazed gaze.
Officers, what's happening here? Where are we?
The androids froze in unison, their non-existent faces twisting in looks of bewilderment. A stifled chuckle sounded from behind their backs. Out of nowhere appeared a small, stooping old man with a benevolent smile.
Not bad for your first time, Justin.
He muttered, patting the butcher on the shoulder.
The virtual simulation of ultimate horror went nearly perfectly. You almost achieved astonishing mental dissociation. Well then, I suppose next time we'll ratchet the level of horror up a notch.
With those words, the old man produced a battered, well-worn casket and opened it. From within spilled a dozen or so ghastly trinkets, a grinning skull, a skeleton figurine astride a skull, voodoo dolls with needles piercing their bodies.
These are for the next immersion, dear Justin.
The old man beamed.
I'll add a satanic theme, and the risk of insanity will be at its maximum. We'll bring you to that threshold beyond which people utterly lose their minds. A new breakthrough in treating schizophrenia will be assured.
Justin, a middle-aged man of innocuous appearance, gazed at him with hope and rapture. His fingers caressed the sinister toys with reverence.
Magnificent, Dr. Frumpkin. Your methods are genius. I'm prepared to go even further, to shed the last vestiges of sanity for the sake of scientific breakthrough, to heal millions of the mentally afflicted.
The doctor nodded with satisfaction and snapped the casket shut. The androids silently vanished. The policemen turned into extras, and the setting became a holographic projection. Darkness closed in once more. But now it was merely a prelude to new, even more horrifying nightmares that Justin McGregor had to endure before finding peace of mind. For only by venturing beyond the brink of madness could one attain tranquility.